Hey everyone, it's me, Dirty Honey. So don't forget to subscribe, okay? So today we're going to be talking about dimensions. Okay, so there's multiple dimensions potentially. Some believe, there is multiple dimensions. We live in 3 of them, right? We have 3 dimensions, 3D we call it. There's going to be length, height, and depth. And so that's going to give us the ability to make a cube and visualize those 3 dimensions, right? Wrong. Well, kind of. So the thing about dimensions that's totally trippy is that we live in 3 dimensions, we experience 3D, but we're actually in one of those dimensions. We occupy one of those 3 dimensions. So the third D is where we stand. Therefore, we're only witnessing the other 2. We see everything in 2 dimensions. Our eyes are fooled, and our brain helps us to put it together to make the assumption or understand the 3rd dimension. But when we're looking at something, we're actually only seeing 2 dimensions, just like a picture. A good artist can draw something on a 2-dimensional flat piece of paper, and you can look at it and be fooled into thinking that it's 3 dimensions right there in front of your face, and it's on a flat sheet of paper. That's how our reality works. And a good example of that is like if you were to have a ball or something round, right? And let's use this. If you were to have one of these little stops, okay, and you see it, it looks like it's this big, right? And when I start to move it away, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller along with my hand. Okay, now you can see that it's way back there because it's so small. But if I took this thing and moved it away from the screen, but at the exact same time as it moved away from your eyeball, it got bigger, you wouldn't be able to tell that it was getting further away. It would look like it's not moving at all. If the size changed accordingly at the same rate that it was moving away from you or closer to you as it got smaller, you wouldn't be able to tell that it was actually moving. The only reason you can tell that it's moving is because the size, height, and width, not depth, height and width change and they get smaller. That triggers your brain to understand that it's moving further away. But that can be fooled. It can be fooled because you're only witnessing 2 dimensions and you're standing in the 3rd dimension, or you're occupying the 3rd dimension. Super trippy stuff that's how things work, but that's how things work. And so if the thing that helps fool our eyes is the size, in addition to lighting causing shadowing and hues of color that change and stuff. That also triggers the assumption or whatever that the thing is moving further away, or lets you recognize that it's moving. Although if the size changed, it would just look like the shadows and hues were changing and wouldn't necessarily make it look like it's moving further away. But when those things are all combined together, your brain says, that's moving further away. I can tell because I've done this a million times. And so the 3-dimensional thing is, if we're living in a 3-dimensional world and witnessing 2 of them, if there was the possibility of living in a 4-dimensional world where the cube turns into this shape called a tesseract, which I won't even get into explaining. It's something that we can't comprehend. It's like this diamond-looking thing or something. I don't know. It's totally crazy. I'm not smart enough to explain that. But basically, it's seeing something from all 3 sides at once, inside and out at the same time. It's totally trippy stuff. You can see through things, basically. But that concept is way too complicated for me to understand and to explain anyways. So what I'm going with on this next step is potentially if we're in the third dimension now, where did we start? Did we start in the first dimension and live out some sort of an existence in one dimension until we passed on to the two-dimensional world and we could observe one and live in the second? And now we're graduated into the third dimension where we can witness the other two, and potentially when we leave this life or graduate with whatever it takes to get out of this dimension into the fourth dimension of understanding, we'll be able to see the three-dimensional world in front of our optic or whatever we have to understand that dimension. Then potentially we move to the fifth, and so on, because in this understanding of dimensions, they multiply for eternity and forever. And so potentially we're on an ascending journey, starting from dimension 0 maybe, or dimension 1, all the way out forever until we are just the universe itself, or in dimension number 10 million. That's just an insane thing to think about. And the other side of that coin that's totally interesting, or maybe scary, is what if we're in a descending journey through dimensions and we've already experienced those other infinite number of dimensions and we're on our way down towards 0, dimension 0. We're at dimension 3. We only have 2 more to go before we skip down to dimension 0, which is stillness, no time, or what. I don't know what it would be. It doesn't sound fun, though. So I don't know if we're on an ascending journey. I don't know if we're on a journey through dimensions at all, but potentially we are. And if we are, that's pretty exciting if we're in an ascending journey, because we're just babies in the universe of dimensions, and we're going to be on an eternal journey through all this crazy understanding of visualization of these dimensions and stuff. That's just totally trippy. But if we're on our way down, we don't remember all the fun we had in those infinite dimensions. We're just on our way out the door down to dimension 0, which is kind of like the end, potentially, if the dimension system is like a ray and starts from 0 and goes on in one direction forever, or in all directions forever. I don't know. So anyways, that was just something that I kind of thought of, that I thought was pretty interesting perspective on the existence of dimensions and how we live within 3 and observe 2, and then the trajectory of our potential journey through the remaining dimensions, if that's what life does with us, or existence. It would kind of be our dimensional lifespan, or a dimensional existence span, either just beginning or coming to an end. Feels like it's probably just beginning, because we're pretty stupid unless we're on this, we used to be genius, like know all gods, and we're working our way down to a seed. Feels backwards to how the universe works from where we are now. It would seem that we're in a growing, but for all we know, we're growing towards 0. Maybe we got everything backwards. So that's it. Just wanted to remind you that. Be nice. Listen to 91.5 FM on the radio, KUSC.org on the internet, because that music is the best. Doesn't matter if you're in what dimension you're in. That music came from dimension 7 million or some shit. I don't know where Bach and all these guys live now, but I'm pretty sure maybe they did come from a higher dimension, and that's why they were so badass. They may be new to this dimension, and when you're new to this dimension, you still have resonating fourth dimensional badassness like those composers did back then. Interesting thought on that too. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Be nice. Bye.